broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Kaufmann. Now, let the buzz begin!
Bienvenidos to the league.
Yes.
See what I did there?
Yes, I see exactly what you did there.
Spanglish at its finest. Bienvenidos, welcome to the league. After show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. We are live on YouTube.com, streaming live on the internet. And soon we're going to be on iTunes and SoundCloud. So while you're there, please rate us 5 stars. Or maybe hit that thumbs up button. Should be right around there. Am I pointing to the right section of the thumbs up?
That seems correct.
On the wide, but if we're going to my shot, it should be right around there. Just hit that thumbs up.
And if they cut to my shot, your hand will be in my face. So don't do that.
Well, why don't you tell everybody who you are first? I'm gonna switch it up. We're gonna say, who are you first?
I am Steve Kaufmann. You can find me at Steve Kaufmann.
I've never heard the long
version
of
the
song.
That is Kaufmann. I actually love this part of the song. You never hear it.
And I am George Hermoza, and we are here discussing episode 9 of season 7, The Yank Banker. So when you see the title of this episode called The Yank Banker, what goes through your mind?
Is it weird that I immediately thought of a spank bank?
I did too.
And I'm curious why they're calling it a yank bank other than a spank bank.
You think there's some like S&P, Standards and Practices, saying you can't say spank bank, but you can say yank bank.
I hope it's just a colloquial thing that like at least within the circles of people who create this show, they say yank bank, and it's just younger people like myself who are like, well, you mean the spank bank? Although that is a way. The more I think about it, the term yank is a better term.
Yeah,
it's a more descriptive term.
It kind of flowed a little bit better.
Well, spank bank rhymes a little better.
Yeah.
Whereas the Y is a weird consonant.
It just maybe flows off the tongue a little bit more.
Yeah, whereas spank bank is like, oh, the spank bank.
Yeah. Because it might sound like
you're not actually spanking yourself. Like, it's not a good word.
I think because of the B and the P sounding so close, I think that's why they did it. Yank bank as opposed to spank bank. Like, it's just too much similarities between the two letters. As we're apparently we're just completely breaking down the alphabet. Which I have no problem doing for the next
Welcome to the
hours.
Alphabet Cast here on AFTERBUZZ TV.
But
next week we'll talk about C.
There and apostrophes. But just to get it out of the way, no Ruxin this week again.
He's off shooting stuff.
And again, we kind of all acknowledged and definitely agreed with no Ruxin means while the quality of the episode will still be great, just it's not as great when Ruxin is in there. So we all kind of agreed. Yeah,
that we get a Ruxin-less episode. We're already down one. We're already on the injured. He's on the injured reserve. Like we're already down one. We're not 100% a team.
Pretty much. I mean, I did like this episode as opposed to past episodes of Ruxin not being in the episode. But again, maybe Ruxin could have added, especially with the whole yank bang. He would have come up with some cool metaphors.
Oh, he would have had a lot of metaphors. Well,
wordplay.
He would have probably had a better understanding of banks.
Maybe.
Than Taco.
Yeah, that is
Taco
true.
Taco actually had a surprising amount of knowledge of how banks work.
I know.
For being Taco.
I know. I was surprised too.
Whereas Ruxin would have a functional knowledge.
Speaking of Taco, the show kind of opened up with this weird little montage of like them waking up, the brothers, Taco and Kevin, waking up and just kind of being like a good old fashioned opening theme song of a TV show, which is kind of cool. We've never really seen that with the league before. But I guess Taco obviously now has a real job working at the bank, dressed as the McDiblets, doing the whole thing that we like to see on the corner with the billboard, not the billboard, but the whatever it's called, the sign.
That's technically a form of brand ambassadorship, if you will.
Yeah.
That you're on street marketing. Mm-hmm. You have to get your collateral, which is your flyers, into the hands of potential customers. Mm-hmm. And you're only successful if how much collateral you can get out and positive experiences you've had with potential customer. I've done this for a long time.
I mean, I know that there have been a few times where I'm driving by the corner, and thank God for the guy on the corner telling me that Little Caesars pizza is only $5, because then I just go right in, hot and ready.
I mean, for me, it's a matter of I don't always know where the Little Caesars is, but I'm well aware of their prices. I also buy pizza dough specifically to not go to Little Caesars anymore.
Oh wow!
Or to any. I like to cook my own stuff when I can.
I love Little Caesars. I think I'm the only one though, because everybody else doesn't like Little Caesars. Well, but I will say this: it doesn't age as well as other pizzas.
No, it does not.
So I think that's why nobody else likes it.
Fair enough, because I like to eat the pizza cold from the refrigerator, because I don't.
Okay.
A microwave doesn't do it, and then an oven won't. It just won't reheat.
Yeah.
No pizza will reheat well, so I just like to eat it cold.
So far we got the alphabet.
Now we got
and
pizza.
Okay, I'm trying to curious what was going to be next.
But
but we all bring it back to the league.
Well, and en route to both those things, I'm sure we found very lively discussion about the league.
I hope so too.
Sometimes you have to just wander off topic to wander back, and then it's all the places you went to and fro that get you to the good stuff.
I agree. But we see Kevin kind of see one of his coworkers see that his brother is one of the McGiblets guy, and in walks the boss to the office, and the whole like, oh, your brother's a McGiblets, whatever, you're a slacker. But I did like the part where his wife comes in, the boss's wife comes in, and for whatever reason she's black, but
for whatever reason,
I don't know. I mean,
for whatever
according to Kevin. I'm speaking from Kevin's point of view.
It's his wife, who happens to be black.
But according to Kevin, for whatever reason, he's black or she's black.
I know. That's a weird way to put it.
I just like the whole like he laughs at it and just try to like backs up from it. He just kind of like, and I'm kind of, I guess, kind of quoting. We're like, remember that time? And just walks into his office like he's so weird, but that's what makes his character so great.
Because if he had the social skills to talk his way out of that, honestly, that some of us have,
that's not.
Nobody wants to watch that scene.
Exactly.
I want to watch him do exactly what, like that back away. Like there's a meme of Homer Simpson where he like backs into a hedge and you only see his eyes.
Yeah.
Like
I've seen a lot of those. Yeah.
I would feel that. That's how I would feel. Where I'm like. Although I would probably say, and it wouldn't be as dramatic, I would probably just be like, I can't say anything to help me right now. I'm out.
Yeah.
Sorry. We'll talk later.
So, I mean, his boss ends up needing whose son loves McGiblets, so ends up wanting a McGiblets guy to come in and, portray him for the party, which obviously Taco would be the perfect guy, since we always see him kind of rekindle that side of his character where he comes in McGiblets, whether it's him in the attic getting high with a gun. Yep. Or, even flash forward to this episode where he's just kind of on the corner of the bank.
That's just his deal. He likes to be McGiblets.
And, of course, as always, we're going to tie it in all together because that's just what the league does. They have so many separate storylines, which we all tie in together. But we see Libby for the first time in a few weeks. Of course, Ariel Cabell, I think what her real name is.
Since the Wet Spot episode? Am I right?
Yeah, just about.
I feel like we haven't seen her since then.
Yeah.
I like her a lot.
I like her, too.
I feel like she's working on other stuff, too.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a story you're hearing a lot from people from actors who are on the league.
Well, it's funny because you didn't really hear much of her, which I interpreted as she's done. So kind of seeing her, of course, Pete being Pete, the draft kings of the group, week by week.
Because they do talk a lot about how he's promiscuous, but it struck me as those two were gonna be like together promiscuous until we got an episode like this.
And comes Libby. I'm like, oh cool, there she is, and obviously she's saying she's celebrating her 30th birthday party, and I agree with Pete in terms of if I go to this person's birthday party, that's kind of like being social together and around your group of friends.
That's, I don't know, I think he was making a bit out of nothing there. Because they seem to have a very clear understanding of what they are. And she even said it at the end. It's not her, like, I think if he were ready and willing to just commit, like actually commit, she'd be game.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a get.
I mean, it looks like he's trying to find reasons to commit. And you shouldn't have to explain to yourself or to other people. Yeah. You should just kind of know. And of course, being the league, they bring up the whole football analogy about the whole
very good football.
Signing a long-term contract. And we see it all the time in not just football, but in all sports about the older athlete wanting a long-term deal.
Yeah.
We see it even in WWE and professional wrestling a lot too, where it's like I'm sure people want the stability
Bret Hart.
of knowing,
Bret Hart's
knowing
a very famous example of this massive deal that Vince couldn't afford anymore. Yeah. But he wanted that deal not only because he was loyal, but because it's like, hey, I'm like 30. He was like 35 at the time, right? He was rather old.
Yeah, knocking on 40's door.
Yeah, like he was, for an athlete, he was very old. Where he's like, I'm completely loyal to you. What I want is a 15-year guarantee. And then I think, don't quote me on Bret Hart's contract, but it was somewhere in the area like $50 million. So it's a similar thing that when a woman, in this universe, when a woman's 30, because 30 is the new 20. Women who are 30, you're beautiful, you're sexy, get my phone number.
But Pete brought up a good point. I don't know, maybe you think of the same situation where, do you look at the past? Do you look at, tapes of what they've done? Because at the same time, you're signing that person for the future. And of course, and I know you've seen this interview as well, because I've seen it as well, where Paul Heyman, and he's talking about, if he would be running TNA.
Oh, yeah.
And he brought up the whole analogy of like, listen, if I was the Yankees, the first thing I'd do is I'd fire everybody. I'd fire Jeter, I'd fire Aaron. Because I don't want the guy who hit 600 home runs. I want the guy who's going to hit 600 home runs.
Yeah.
So in terms of relationship-wise, I mean, is that a similar mentality that one should have? Is it a healthy mentality?
Well, that's where the analogy loses itself. Because have you spoke? I think we're both around the same age. Yeah. Have you spoken to a 20-year-old lately? Like, can you find any common ground with a 20-year-old?
I've spoken to one, but I haven't had a conversation with one. If you know what I mean.
But like, and that's nothing against 20-year-olds, but there's just so little common ground.
Yeah.
For me to meet a 20-year-old and then like think about spending a long amount of time with that person and like connecting with that person on an emotional and physical level.
Because I think,
they're too busy on their Snapchat and then calling me a grandpa because I think Snapchat's stupid.
I do think that now that you mention it, 30 is kind of the new 20s. A lot of people are starting to reach their peak at 30.
Yes.
So I kind of see where Pete was coming from, but at the same time, it's like, dude, maybe it's just his whole being married before. Maybe that's what really is.
Well, that's actually,
especially being the first episode and kind of set the.
Well, that's actually one of the few like standalone arcs of this entire show.
Yeah,
is that he's eventually gonna figure out whatever's like messed up inside himself and how he feels about himself. That he'll get the self-confidence to actually be able to move forward with a healthy relationship. But you only do that when you don't want to see that character again. Because then what are we watching? What are we doing?
I mean, now that it's closer to the end of the series, do you see maybe somebody or Pete finding somebody?
Yeah. I was actually a little disappointed in this episode where she said, I want somebody to give me that ring. And he kind of copped out a little.
Yeah.
Instead of like, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I want...
Because we saw that before.
You've been burning this for so long.
There was one episode where he would use like a ranking system where like a +1, a +2, or -1. And we saw that with, I think her name was Sutton, like a few seasons ago. And she turned out to do the same thing on him.
Yep.
So we have kind of seen this kind of Pete, going for it. And it also with I forgot the name on the show, Brooklyn Decker.
Yes.
Gina Gibbiotti.
That sounds correct.
Yeah. So we saw that too, where it just kind of Pete gets heartbroken. But yeah, I do agree with you in terms of I would have liked for Pete to not be like, all right, cool. But of course, I did set up for the whole. Well, should have signed the long-term deal. So obviously maybe that. But of course, we'll go back to it.
Of course.
But Andre runs into his old college crush. Didn't catch the name, to be honest with you, but...
Brittany.
Brittany, yes.
She is played by someone I've known personally. Her name's Deanna Russo.
Okay.
She was on a sketch show I wrote for called Top Story Weekly.
That's pretty cool.
So, good job, Deanna.
Okay, wow. Congratulations. Now, you...
I know people. I actually know two people in this episode.
Wait, her and who else?
Echo Cullum, the other McGribbles.
Oh,
who is also on...
Yeah.
McGiblets, sorry.
Yeah.
He's also on Arrow and like everything cool ever. But he was on The League too.
Okay.
So good for Echo Cullum.
Yeah, they always get a bunch of random people too. Even like early on, they would get like some guys like I don't know which one it is, Key or Peele. He played
Why wouldn't you know which one it is?
I don't watch the show.
You're sticking to that?
I swear to God, I don't watch the show.
Is that what it is?
I want to say it's Peele.
Okay.
He played Carmen Jello, or that was his thing. Yeah, but Yeah, even then, and then a few years later, he's got the Key and Peele. But yeah, Andre running into his old college crush. I guess they all put it as a long-term Yank Bank investment.
Well, if she's in his Yank Bank since college, we're presuming they're all knocking 40. They're all knocking on 40s-ish. So like that's like a 20-30 year.
Pretty much.
It's like a 20-30 year deposit that's still there. It's probably matured. Probably paid multiple dividends.
Yeah, so they run into each other, and her needing some help in terms of enhancements
specifically
or
her nipples.
Fixing. Yeah.
Well, specifically her nipples because her breasts were fine. That's the nice way to put it. They were
Yeah.
They were fine, and storyline wise, they were like, well, no, one nipple's inverted, one's a little oversensitive.
Yeah, but of course, Andre, being Andre, his feelings kind of get the best of him. But I will say this, though. That scene in the patient's office where Andre was like feeling up on the boobs, whatever. Dude, I've seen, or maybe I'm wrong, I feel like that was like a porno in some ways. I feel like that should be the beginning of the porno. Here, come feel this. Oh, hey, let me show you this. Go ahead, just let me show you this.
But I think that scene actually did a great job of making it just very cold and medical, scientific, if you will. So it didn't actually feel like the blocking felt like the beginning of a porn. Yeah. But everyone's faces and the way they acted, that scene actually felt very real.
Yeah. Because honestly, the way I looked at it, maybe I just watched too much porn, who knows. But the way I did look at it, I felt like she was...
I'm just going to stop you there, yes.
I feel like she was hitting on him for a second.
No, and then I didn't buy that at all.
Really? Because I was like, dude, what's Andre doing? She's throwing herself at him.
Well, no, she was just acting like a friend who happens to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain trust you would have with a doctor if you needed help with your nipples and you were a little self-conscious about your body. But if you've known that doctor since high school,
God bless you.
Thank you. I don't know if you speak for him, but I'll take it. I think there was a lot of familiarity that I didn't take it as him being hit on at all.
Okay. Yeah, so of course Andre kind of telling everybody, and of course Taco, being the banker that he is, offers himself as being his Yank investment guy, or I guess
I'll go with that.
A Yanker, his official.
Well, when you
Yanker?
walk into the bank, and then there's the counter, and then there's like the finance people at the desk where they want to upsell you like a 401k or some type of product. He'd be that guy.
I mean, in hopes of that Andre would never go Yankrupt.
Of course. You don't ever want your client to go Yankrupt.
Of course not. And then so fast forward to the surgery room where it's time to perform. And of course, I feel like on a weekly basis, we see like a Bill Cosby joke.
Yep.
Where obviously Andre professes his feelings.
Yes. Or just a subtle... Okay, I'll call that a Bill Cosby. I'll let that slide. That's a very subtle Bill Cosby joke.
I mean, obviously, if those who never watched The Cosby Show would have never have known the Dr. Huxtable reference. But, Andre, obviously, he wanted his, I guess you can say, his work bank and his Yank bank to merge. I guess it's fair to say.
His timing was poor on that. And I think they are so familiar and friendly that it would have been better if he were honest. But once again, if he were honest... That's a terrible show. And of course... that's one scene. I'm not interested in you. Yeah. And she's like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? Obviously, Taco comes in as the guy who saves the day. That was a little ridiculous. Yeah, a little bit. I think Taco's the only character on TV that can pull off something that... I mean, if it was anyone else. Like heightened to that level of just, no, it's cool, I'm Taco. Yeah. And you're like, you know what? That makes sense in the logic of this world. He's Taco. So it kind of ends with Andre being Yankrupt, but which was kind of a funny line that it looks like it was building it up to. But kind of going back to what the other storylines is, Taco is in I guess I was asking you what they can be called, but I guess costume street marketing team, a street team, a marketing team. He's he's passing out flyers, which would make him like street team or brand any variation of brand ambassador and marketer. I've done that for a long time. So I mean, Taco was like in a foreign territory where there was another McGiblets and an Abe Lincoln and I guess like a statue, a gold statue guy, and an elephant. Those guys struck me as street performers. Okay, which there was a difference. He was hired by a company to be an on-street marketer. And those guys were in it for themselves to like pose for pictures.
But at the same time, though, you can't have more than one of those in that same block.
I mean, you can, but they're gonna fight.
Can't. Yeah. We've seen videos on the internet before.
There's a whole documentary about the Hollywood Boulevard performers. It's called Confessions of a Superhero. It might still be on Netflix.
Oh, wow.
It's good. What's sad is most of those people are still on Hollywood Boulevard.
Really? It's on Netflix?
It was on Netflix when I watched it 6 years ago. So don't quote me on whether that's still on Netflix.
Oh. Well, anyway, I'm going to look it up. I mean, that sounds pretty interesting.
It was a really good documentary.
But in the meantime, where Taco got hired for the boss's kids' party, Taco got the emergency call, for obviously Andre, and now Kevin's stuck with the costume. So logically speaking, Kevin's going to come in the costume, not knowing that he's going to be looking for that party, walks into foreign territory and sees the people that belong, I guess, the other McGiblets, the
street performers. He is a brand ambassador. He's an on-street marketer, and they are street performers.
So as he's getting chased, he runs into the whole Libby's party, and obviously runs into it, and mayhem ensues. Libby ends up getting hurt from I guess you can say, tackle?
She tried to tackle him.
And it sounds like she got hurt, which obviously led up to the whole...
She blew out her knee, and then...
Should have signed that long-term deal.
Man, she's gonna be on the sideline.
Which is funny because, like, what does that have anything to do with being in a relationship? But then again, that's probably Pete. That's probably Pete trying to find ways to not be in a relationship. And it's all
Pete doesn't value himself enough to think he's worth a relationship, partially because his wife to be crushed all of that inside of it. That's actually a very well-written character that I hope one day he'll get over that.
Yeah, I agree. We only got a few episodes left. I'm sure they usually wrap up around December-ish, so we probably have like
weeks,
4 or 5.
Don't they mirror the NFL season? They go 16 weeks?
It ends usually like around 2 to 3 weeks before the season's over. So usually like maybe
12, because they probably only get 13 or 15.
Mid-December, so I'm sure maybe like anywhere between 4, maybe no more than 5 episodes left. So I am kind of curious. I'm hoping we see more Ruxin. I know we haven't seen much of Sophia.
I hope we need more Ruxin.
We've seen Rafi this season, but we haven't seen Dirty Randy.
We do need more Dirty Randy. We need a whole other Rafi Dirty Randy episode if we can.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially
there's kind of a checklist. There's kind of a checklist at this point of like the things we need before the league is over.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't know how strong it can be on its own, but I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of see a Rafi spinoff show, but that would just completely be out of like left field, but introducing a whole new cast of characters. So I don't know. Maybe
that would be interesting. Yeah. FX need in the past 2 years they've needed double the content for a second network.
Exactly.
So I haven't. That's not news and gossip, guys. We just we don't know if there's a Rafi spinoff in the works.
I don't know, but if there is, you know where you heard it first.
Fair enough.
These guys.
Like what?
But in the meantime, feel free to comment on our YouTube comments down below. Feel free to, like I said, get that thumbs up right in the corner of the YouTube screen. iTunes 5 stars. We like to hear you guys' feedback. Feel free to hashtag us ABTV the League on Twitter. And since you're on Twitter, where can we find you?
You guys can find me right here, right now. But also on Twitter, I'm at Steve Kaufmann, Kaufmann. If you are a fan, and remember the 5th of November. Tomorrow, 10:30 a.m., I will be watching V for Vendetta live on the Popcorn Talk Network. Please join me. I'll be watching the whole thing with 2 other guests. It'll be a lot of fun.
That's a great movie.
I love that movie. It's one of my favorite films.
That's a great movie. And in the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at ghermoza. That's GHERMOZA. Hashtag Road to 400 followers continues. I think I have like 4 more followers for hopefully to hit 400. And then hashtag Road to 500 followers begins. Twitter and on Instagram, ghermoza. But in the meantime, you can catch us next week here on The League on AfterBuzz TV on the After Show Network. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.